I have a snoring dog literally right by my elbow. So if you hear her snoring, that's what it is. Anyway, this is a comic from 1980, The Hulk. I heard a video of Zach the other day. He was doing a review of an old comic, and he said, these old comic reviews don't get any views. So I immediately thought, well, I'll do my own old comic review that won't get any views, because why not? I just wanted to show this comic because it's not amazing. The art is pretty good. The art has some amazing scenes, but it's not an example of an amazing comic. It's just a solidly good comic that you got in 1980. It does some things. Oh, come on! It does some things really well, but mostly you notice what it doesn't do. It doesn't have all the modern day social justice just garbage. It's completely devoid of social justice. Well, there might be a little environmental issues, but okay, this is an example of how a writer subtly introduces environmental issues. Those aren't social justice issues. Those are justice issues. There's no social justice. There's justice. Anyway, the opening scene is pretty impressive. The clouds and the pier in the background and the rocks, the lightning. The lightning might be a bit over much, but right off the bat, this is the opening page of the book. It grabs you, tells you something's going on. The first in a new special series of daring, dramatic Hulk tales. Okay. And this scene, this caught my attention. I'll read a couple of the pages. Sunset on the upper west coast is always nice. Sun on water, blue water, red sun, nice clouds too, and birds. Hulk thinks they call this beauty. So much water, ocean must be big, whole world is big. Must be, just seems small, because Hulk can find no place in the world where he can be himself. Look at that amazing art. Look at even the details in the waves. It's fantastic. Yet where does Hulk fit in all this big world, all this beauty? No place. Have we all felt like this? Yeah, at one point in time. Even the lighthouse in the distance. This is a stunning image. And, they only had, this was in 1980, and they didn't have the color palette that artists have got in the 90s. So you're doing this with very, very limited colors. What do you see? White, blue, black, green, purple, and then everything else is just a blend of that. And this is the image you get. It's stunning. Hulk's just a freak. Yeah, that's what Hulk is. They call this beauty, but they call Hulk a freak. And then they explain a little bit of the backstory about how Hulk was created. Hulk is not like everything else. Hulk must be a freak. He is ugly and alone in a big world of big beauty. And then when he looks into the water, that kind of reminds me even of there's a scene in this book we had to read in high school, Les Miserables, where the detective is staring in the water. And I remember the high school teacher was explaining the story to us, that water represented change. And it stuck with me, even though the story was, God, heaven forbid I say it's kind of forgettable. At least to me, it was too big a story for someone like me. But I remember that scene of staring in the water, representing change. And then I see an image like this, and I realize the importance of understanding works like Les Miserables and other works. But Hulk's face on water is just ugly, and he smashes it. And even the next scene, these first few pages are just fantastic. Him running, and you see I don't know whether it's clouds or water, but it's showing that he's moving at a high rate of speed. And then this scene in the upper right-hand corner where he's leaping across a river or leaping across something. And then, I don't know if you can see this, but it looks like lavender, purple, or blue, red, yellow. It kind of looks like the part of a rainbow or something. I don't know what it is, but I don't need to know what it is. It just looks fantastic. It's just part of the mountains in the background, or maybe it's the clouds, or I don't know what it is, but it looks amazing. And this scene down here, how awesome would this look done in modern colors up on your wall, or even like this, the redwoods. If you've ever been in a redwood forest with the sunlight coming through the trees, this is what it feels like. Hulk feels small, but a majestic stand of ancient redwoods suffused with the last slanting shafts of sunset is hardly refuge from beauty. Yeah, that's exactly what a redwood forest feels like. Trees are so big and so quiet here, like Banner's church, and light here is gold. Yep, you got it. The The flowers are he's having some kind of existential crisis and has a little bit of a temper tantrum, knocks down some trees, sees what he's done, and then he goes to sleep and has a dream. And this scene up here, a lot of these scenes just, God, for being 1980, it's not that these old comics were so good. It's that modern comics are so bad. This comic is just, it's a passing grade. It's a fun comic. It takes you away on a little bit of escapism. But compared to modern comics, this is no comparison. This is an A+, and modern comics are about a D. Anyway, the scene with the black and the white stars. If you've ever been out camping out in the middle of a redwood forest, away from lights, that's what the sky looks like. The sky is deep, dead black. It is just an absolute, 3-degree black body, and the stars are. He's showing just white on black to give you He's trying to show you that when you're away from city lights, there are just thousands of stars in the sky. Anyway, I'm trying to say that he sets the scene so powerfully, and it puts you in that redwood forest, and you can smell the trees and you can smell the dirt, and he just does all this very, very, very well. Has a nightmare. He's, Bruce Banner, the classic story always comes back to him dealing with his inner demons type of thing. Then they introduce a new character on a motorcycle. They hook up, go to it's not much other than home and everything else I love in the world. You can go in while I park the bike. There's no running water, but I've already got a tub filled in the bathroom. All right, you got a well and whatnot. I'll get you a shirt, pair of boots. All right, so they set up these two characters meeting together. And then she says, well, they come to work in the mines. Say you're not your typical hobo drifter, are you? You're intelligent, educated. What happened to you? Where are you going from here? I'd rather not talk about the past. I haven't decided about the future. Yeah, I don't think get away with hobo drifter here nowadays. If you want to make up your mind around here, I can get you a job at the mines. It works hard, but it's no strain on the brain. Good enough. Okay, so they go to the mine. You're introduced with this unsavory character. She explains, pointing at the guy's camp. I thought his cabin. Says that's the boss man's place. Gideon Woolman's home, away from home. Doesn't look like much from the outside, but he's got it set up like a palace on the inside. I thought it was kind of interesting because you got to remember in 1980 when you had a cabin set up like a palace. That doesn't mean the same thing in 2020. 2020 means you've got, satellite hookup for your cellular devices and a big screen TV and Bluetooth speakers, and it means a lot. And it means a lot. There's things have changed. In 1980 it was he probably didn't even have a TV. So set up like a palace means he's got a nice chair or something. Things were just. Our definitions of we have so much more in 2020 that our definitions of what was a palace back then have changed. So he's obviously a bad character. He's up to no good, suspected of kickbacks and bribery and whatnot. Look, Bennings, maybe you didn't hear me. Either there's a reporter snooping from the outside, or we've got an undercover snoop on our payroll. Okay, so it's a little bit of foreshadowing there. She gets him a job at the mine. Keep an eye on him. There's no surprises to this story, but it's amazing that for a story with, they're up to no good, and these are going to be like a Scooby-Doo detective mystery type thing. But it's still, I was totally captivated. Even reading this thing as an adult, I thought this was a really good story. Job simple, Bruce. We fill these rail cars, take the cars to refinery, empty them, bring them back, fill them again. Okay. And then he starts to notice some strange, some unusual things, like convenient having the refinery here on the premises. I guess that's a little bit unusual. Then he says, tell me, Dawn, except for the guards, the other workers seem a little down and out. Why? And then she talks about the guards. And so they're foreshadowing that there's something wrong with the mine. It says, sounds reasonable, but why are all of them so down and out? Could there be a different reason for? All right, so they get to work. They start the mining. Invites her home. They, all right. He's got some nightmares. She notices he's got nightmares. Just a little bit of, I guess it's like pre-flirting, the concept that they're sleeping in separate beds, separated from each other, and they're sharing the intimacy of his nightmare. I guess that's probably the reason for those scenes. So he notices there's something wrong. I just wonder, listen, I've got something else to do now, and you might as well get used to pushing loads in the refinery yourself. Sure, go ahead. Wonder what that was all about, and what else should she have to do? So you got your little, goddamn dog, Scooby-Doo type thing. The compound is alive with big rigs. They huff and snort, grinding and wheezing, metal muscles protesting in a way Bruce Banner understands but cannot express. Got another load, so dump it down and we'll melt it down. Okay. There's a little smelting operation going on. Wait a minute, you melt the ore right here? Yeah, why? What's wrong with that? Are you sure that's the way they told you to do it? Of course I'm sure. And what's to you, Jack? You paid to lug rocks or ask questions? All right, so he's noticing something's going on. What's your problem anyway? Nothing, just curious. Oh, hello, Mr. Bennings. Just on my way back, the scrawny guy here was asking questions, Mr. Bennings. Yeah, that's just what I wanted to hear. And a woman will want to hear it even more. And so she's up on the skylight, and she's doing a little, playing her Nancy Drew detective things. The bad guy brings him into the office to interrogate him a little bit, and he's telling him, I've seen a portion of your operations, and well, it seems to me like you're doing things wrong. Are you telling me that the mine's being run incorrectly? Yes, sir. All right, he's either a drifter or he's got some kind of expertise in mining. And so who are you to tell me how to run my own business? Where did a drifter like you gain such expertise? Well, I have a little background in science, like multiple PhDs in mining geology. And I just thought you should know. Okay. That is, if you continue melting that crude ore in the manner it appears you're doing, there could be a considerable residual byproduct of radioactive waste. All right, so they're mining yellow cake uranium or something, and she's, photographing it, trying to solve the mystery. Back at the cabin. So what did Woolman want, Bruce? He never really said, except he told me to mind my own business. I think he was upset by what I told him, which was his operations are geared all wrong for the result. What are they geared for? Nothing really. It just seems he's producing dangerous radioactive waste, and then it comes out that she's actually a reporter, and she's been, I guess, trying to break a story about the mine is producing, I don't know, something to do with some kind of contraband for a South American war. Probably they want to make a dirty device or a plutonium or uranium implosion device without saying the words on YouTube. And then they have a little bit of romance. Yeah, I guess it's the deal. If you don't mind, Bruce, I'd rather not shake on it. Something as big as this should be sealed with a more binding agreement. What? They do a little smooching. You see the guys spying on them outside. Now, okay, the point is the whole thing of this story, and then approaching thunderstorm. For symbolism, the thunderstorm is good to represent chaos and change. But the point is, just a basic. This story is a dime a dozen. Nothing special about it. But notice what we don't have. We don't have any racism or sexism or the equivalent of Orange Man bad, which is the equivalent nowadays of blonde people are bad, blonde hair, blue eyed bad, men bad, brown girl good. None of that. Just a simple story. I thought this was kind of funny. These gallery of villains, introduction of old characters. God, comics were fun in the day in 1980. Are comics like this today? Oh, absolutely not. Absolutely not. This is like patriarchal or something. This is just verboten. How fun this was. This is back in the day, 1980. All right, so they continue their Nancy Drew mystery. The bad guy, look how great that's drawn. Look at that. But given time, I'll tell you he's clean. He better be, Bennings, because if anything louses up the drop tonight, I'll kill you personally. Dun, dun, dun. And then, the storm is brewing, and they got the machines in the background, and you can kind of you can feel the tension is building. And look how they draw the tracks bending and curved. They exaggerate the curve. And I'm actually just noticing this now. Notice the truck lines are bent and curved and warped. It's trying to give you, there might be a word for this kind of distortion, but it's trying to give you a sense of, I guess, foreboding. Something's happening in these massive cumulonimbus. Storm clouds are coming, and just you're supposed to feel the tension ramp up. Stuff is about to happen. The storm's about to break, and she's out there doing her little spy duty. And then he tells you the last bit of a plot exposition. Don't let those South American jerks buffalo you. I don't care what they call themselves. All terrorists are the same. This deal goes my way or not at all. Okay, so the uranium and the refined plutonium, whatever it is that's making the workers sick, is going to be sent to South America. Storm's coming. Oh no, one of the guards, and he's spotted her. Dawn, the guard shoots at her. He doesn't know what's going on. Bruce Banner feels all the fires of panic. He doesn't know it's Dawn, and he's charging at her, firing at her. Okay, you don't actually need to explain everything. See, the thing is, I'm saying is like these comics weren't perfect. They did a lot of. Sometimes they under-explain, sometimes they over-explain, but they did a lot of things much better than they do them today. Okay, he runs after her. You see the machines and the clouds and the storm, and tension is. And the rain turns to fury. Come on, get these rigs out of here, up under the rocks before they bog in the mud. And even as the workers scurry through the downpour, Bruce Banner falls to the curse of gamma radiation. Dawn? It's not Dawn. What the dark and big machines try to attack Hulk, and then Hulk doesn't care. He goes on a massive power trip, just destroying these machines. Even in dark, Hulk can see well enough to smash machines. All right, that's kind of a classic Hulk tale of a Hulk smash. Hulks get attacked by soldiers, obviously, and Hulk continues to smash. I read a lot of Hulk comics recently, and you would think it would get kind of old, the whole Hulk smash thing and the inner turmoil. But the authors back in I guess I was reading from the 60s, 70s, 80s, they managed to make the comics pretty interesting. One of the most interesting stories, I think, was when he goes to Vegas and turns gray. Becomes kind of more human, kind of more intelligent. That was a lot of fun. Rain is stopping. The sun comes out. Maybe it is dawn. But why does Hulk feel he must find dawn? All right, get back to work. The Hulk was here, boss. He smashed all these rigs. He almost killed us. Well, he's gone now. I can't hurt you anymore. What are you standing around for? Get back to work. Go look for Bruce Banner. Bruce Banner hooks up with the girl. Somebody sneaks up on him, takes him out with the shovel, and then they fight. He knocks out Hulk. This is kind of a cheesy plot device. Hulk getting knocked, or Bruce Banner getting knocked out before he can convert to the Hulk. But whatever. We understand it's just a comic book, so him not turning to the Hulk is just convenient. They lock him up in a cave or something and separates him from Dawn. Even things like this where he's walking out of the mine is blue-black in the background and the things curving away. It's kind of effective. It makes you feel... it really makes you feel like you're there in the middle of the action. Hulk escapes from the cave. He thinks she's dead, or maybe I'm dying, but listen to me. I have to conveniently die. I know I was right about your past, so I know you'll understand. I heard them say offshore oil rig, went in the helicopter to find them and get them for me, Bruce. Yes, Dawn, you were dead, but Hulk will find them for you. Okay, well, the girl has to conveniently die. I wonder if nowadays this would be allowed, the whole girl in the refrigerator thing. But, this is a comic book. This isn't real. Characters die. How many of those workers died when Hulk went on a little rage fit? Anyway, Hulk goes and hunts him down, and you get to see some fun artwork of a helicopter, the weirdest drawn helicopter ever. Are those windows? Are those counter-rotating? So it's a double prop. Are those supposed to be windows? It is really weird. But the thing is, a lot of these artists, they're good with figures, but they're horrible with technical details. Things like helicopters and motorcycles, they're never drawn correctly. If you look at the drawings when they draw motorcycles, and you trace the exhaust headers, they don't go where they're supposed to go, or they're on the left, they're on one image, but then when the image changes and you look in the back, it has no exhaust. I noticed that on one of the motorcycles. Anyway, it completes his destruction, and you get to see a lot of fun artwork. And you see what they could do with, I don't know if this was the 4-color process. Pretty effective. And then at the end, he sees her face in the cloud. Only one figure remains on the twisted platform, alone to witness the breaking of dawn. This is a fun story. This was what comics. This is when your boy Zach is talking about what comics were, and then this is what he means. This is one example of what comics were, and then like that article I read the other day about the guy talking about. How comics are changing and they need to change to account for diversity. All right. Yeah, but it doesn't give you the excuse to make a bad story. If you want to make this story more diverse, you can just simply add diverse characters and just keep the story the same. This is a simple, fun story. Oh, I didn't even notice that the money being blown up, symbolic. So there's a little environmental issue, but mainly the story was about South American bad guys looking for the uranium or the refined plutonium or something, and a little bit of a romance, and Hulk having turmoil with his inner self. This is a good, clean, fun story. If people were writing stories like this today, this story feels like it's kind of geared towards the 10-year-old to 20-year-old. I mean, 10-year-olds and up. I mean, I read it and I was thoroughly entertained by it, and I would say, yeah, maybe around 10 years and up, to any age really, is going to have a good time with this comic. And the comics nowadays are kind of geared towards adults because they're $4 a comic. And these comics this was a big issue, and it was probably, I think it was $1.50 for I don't know what this was, a double issue in 1980, so it probably would have been 50 cents or 75 cents for the normal price. Anyway, look at this image. God, what a fantastic comic. This is how good. I feel like, you kids today, you kids have no idea how good it was. Well, this is how good it was. This is what comics were. Anyway, subscribe if you're not already subscribed, and leave a like and a comment to tell me what a good job I did or how badly I did. Anyway, thanks for listening.